Hello again. Good. I almost forgot I had this tonight, so that would have been a bit troublesome. Indeed. I'm going to be taking over now. No, I don't think I could manage that. I'll leave it in his capable hands, but he's gone. I do remember hearing that, but all I know is he's off for a couple days on holiday, so good for him. Good to take a break. I know sometimes I'm working I'm working a bit too hard with some of the stuff that I'm doing in my spare time. It's nice to just take a little bit of a break. I am, yeah. I'm quite a fan of it. I especially like cars that have custom number boards, whatever the name for it is. Because seeing the same one in every car, it becomes quite monotonous. Oh, that's a hard word. Oh! Hold up 1 second. It would appear that Discord was not being captured on audio. It's fixed now.
Hello everyone, can you hear me better now? Give us
Accidentally, 5 minutes of me talking to myself.
Good. Yeah, give us a yeah boy if you can hear me now. Haribo says that he could only hear Trinket, but I think obviously there's a little bit of delay on there, so hopefully it will start capturing me any moment now.
I do apologise for that. That was an awkward 5 minutes to the start of the stream.
I think Alex is saying that yes, they can hear me because he used the word unfortunately. Thank you to everyone else who actually answered me there. Alex gives us a yeah boy, right? Okay, that's better. So yes, I'll kind of just forget that I've been talking for the last 5 minutes. Thanks, Trinket. That's 5 minutes of my life I'm not getting back. But we are here for round one of the July series of the oNiD SimHound Amateur Series. And as we were just saying, a complete non-amateur is currently number one on the timing sheets. Not quite sure how Alfie Bevan has snuck in here, but a 124.9 puts him right at the top of the timing sheets here at Brands Hatch. Trinket, you a fan of Brands?
It has its moments, but I find a lot of British GT tracks I'm not a fan of when it comes to GT3 racing, as Alfie does go a 10th quicker, puts a 124.0.
He wasn't fast enough already, so yeah, it goes a little bit faster. I've actually just asked the coach how the hell is he getting... so apparently it's because he's new to ACC. Yeah, right, whatever. So yeah, expect Alfie to do pretty well tonight, and everyone else trying to keep up, really. But there's plenty of battling behind. So Sohn is second, Getting's third, then it's Royal, Siniuk, Krauser, Muller, Fensom, Eaton, Leuven, Farrell, Mason, Kazaya, Donnelly, Knight, Torn, Conradi, Gale, Hansen, Page, Farrow, Morgan, and Russell. And it's always dangerous at the start of a new series to just blindly go through the list of names on the timing tower without having looked at it first. But I think I didn't do too bad.
I think so too, but there's just so many names, especially because it's an amateur series, there's a lot of new names.
Yeah, there certainly is. Thanks to everyone who is trying to keep us entertained in chat tonight. One of the things you might have missed me saying is that I'm extremely tired. So if the racing isn't keeping me entertained tonight, then you guys in chat, it's up to you to keep me awake and keep me alive to see us through. We were saying it's myself and Trinket tonight. No, Johnny, he's off enjoying himself for a couple of days. How dare he? So question from Amundsen was, what's the track state and temps? Well, it's currently optimum, 22 degrees air temp, 27 degrees track temp. No wind, but it is a little overcast. It is the British summer after all. So what would you get apart from completely overcast? We're watching Angel Sohn in the 297 Sim Sports Ferrari.
Currently 5 tenths up coming into the last corner.
So
5.5.
does Alfie have a competitor?
This will be very close. It's all dependent on that exit. 25 milliseconds. That's very close.
25 thousandths between Bevan and Sohn, then so nice and close up front. Gettings is 6 tenths back from those two, and he's in the pits, so probably just sticking on a set of boots for a last run in this qualifying. The field spread is not too bad for an AMS event as well. Real mixture in experience and abilities. Some names from last season you won't see anymore because they've now been promoted, which basically means banned from competing in the amateurs again. We say, they've been promoted, but what it really means is get out of here, you're too fast, don't come back. Go race in some of our other series instead. But great to see some of those guys doing really well. And I know that Win No Comment is actually helping out on the coaching this season as well. So he's gone from front side of the AM series into a bit of coaching as well, Trinket.
Well, we definitely teach them well then, eh?
Well, we try our
as
best.
Dexter Morgan, my mistake, goes fastest there. That was his first lap out on track, and he goes a 23.8.
Okay, so I think we can safely say that Alfie Bevan has got some competition here. The Powerpuff car of Dexter Morgan goes to the point then. 123.8 for him, and obviously Sohn only a few thousandths behind Bevan as well. So those top three looking pretty competitive at the minute. Siniuk is up in fourth, just ahead of Seth Royal. So some of these names we're familiar with, some of them are guys that we're getting used to. And that'll be interesting to see who pops up through this series as the real competitors.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting through the season, especially to see who improves, who starts out at the bottom and starts improving and moving their way up. 'Cause that's what we want to see.
100%. We certainly do. Dexter having to box after that one. Angel Sohn on any kind of improvement?
Currently a 1/10.5 up.
Be enough for second at this stage. Catching another car in front though, so hoping to not get held up.
They are on blue flags, so they do have to move out of the way.
Yeah, so they're not on a lap at the minute, whereas Sohn is. There is a crash, and now this AMG is getting out of the way quite nicely. In fact, gave him a little tow before then. So Sohn now heading down into clearways. Final corner, the long right-hander. Don't run out too wide there and catch the grass, because that is the end of your lap. But Sohn keeping it nice and tight down on the inside and improved by 5 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, he was 2 tenths up before catching that Mercedes, but unfortunately getting past him cost him that time. I wouldn't say
Amundsen
it's
in
much
chat.
of a hold-up, but it definitely was unfortunate.
Yep, definitely. Amundsen in chat saying McLaren is a really strong car on this track if you don't lose the rear. Yeah, well, we're currently seeing McLaren at the top of both classes. So those with the white number boxes on your timing tower on the left-hand side, they are part of the AMS class. Those with the red number boxes are part of the beginners class. It's interesting actually that some of the beginner class drivers tend to move on very quickly through the season. We already see Siniuk already up in 4th overall. So Toby Lubin now in 11th and boxes that one. Tom Muller in another one of the 297 Sim Sports cars. Heading down into clearways. And have we got an improvement coming up here, Trinket?
He was 2/10 up there, but you just saw him lose the back end there. But he seems to be gaining time. He did. He moves up to 6th place. He managed to gain a 10th after losing the back of the car there. That's certainly something I've not seen. Maybe he did that on his previous best.
Yeah, it's almost like it helped the car rotate through clearways a little bit better. But yeah, certainly not the strat of survival for race time, but interesting to see it in qualifying. So Morgan out front then, 23-8. Then it's Bevan, Sohn, Siniuk, Royal, Muller, Gettings, Krauser, Fensom, and Eaton is your top 10. We're picking up Andreas Hansen in Team Ganya Porter. Maybe.
There's very little point in attempting to say anything Nordic because it's always wrong.
Well, yeah, there were some things I learned a little bit. I used to spend a lot of time out there, and yeah, there's a couple of things that I learned in terms of pronunciation, but I've forgotten most of it. So I've probably just completely butchered. So we'll call it Team Skane Porter.
My best attempt would be something like Team Skåne Porter, but I'm probably very wrong as well.
Italian. That's very Italian. Go on,
I can hear it in my head, and I think that's how I'm going to say it, and then it comes out as But he is currently 9/10 up, which will move him up quite a few places.
That could go as far as 12th. Oh, that's not helpful, though.
That is very indeed not. Commentator's curse.
That is very indeed not. Good.
Yeah, we're moving to the last 30 seconds of qualifying.
Yeah, we can't even speak England tonight, let alone any Nordic languages. Seth Royal is in that bright green Ferrari once again this season, the number 5 SVR car.
Sorry to interrupt, but Alfie Bevan just went 8/10 quicker on that lap, 23.3.
Wow, that is a lap and a half, and Bevan now back in the box, rubbing his hands together and saying, "That's it, done." Amundsen saying it's Swedish, guys. Well, that's a Nordic language, isn't it, of some kind? Yeah, so Swedish, yes. I always struggled with the true pronunciation of the city Malmo. Somebody tried to teach me it once.
Malmo.
Malmö. Or something.
Yeah. Any Swedish that I've tried to learn, I look at the letters and go, that's not how they're said.
Yeah, I did try learning Norwegian at one point and didn't get very far.
Just quickly caught Donnelly moving up quite a few places there. He was 6/10 up as I moved, but he just crossed the line.
Nice.
That's everyone coming up to finish the lap. Sam Page, 5/10 up, moving into the last area of the track.
And that would be nice. That could go up to 16th, maybe even 15th with this lap. Maybe even finds a little bit through the rest of the lap in that beautiful Racing Stronger liveried Aston Martin.
One of the best cars.
Over the top of the brow.
Unfortunately lost his time there. We've got one other person on track, Leo Mason, coming around the final corner. 5/10 up. That will move him quite a few places up.
Could go 10th.
He does go 10th.
Does indeed, yeah. Good move for that curb McLaren.
And that's everyone.
Alex has just come into chat on YouTube, and I assume he's talking about weather rather than anything else. He's just come in here and said, dry and optimum.
Yeah, these lower temperatures are pretty spot on for what you want for fast lap times, and that's definitely what we saw.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we tend to keep things relatively straightforward at the start of an AM series, and then introduce a little bit of jeopardy as the season goes on. So you can expect dry and optimum for the first race of a new month in the AMs. This is, of course, July. Welcome to July. And as I was saying earlier, in the period of time when you couldn't hear me, scarily, this is month number 7 of the year already. It will be Christmas very, very soon.
I don't like that.
No, I don't, because Christmas is going to be so much more expensive in our household these days.
There's less of the Christmas for me and more of the thought that 2024 is already going to happen soon. The years, they come by.
Yes, yeah. 2024 will be the year that I turn 40.
I will turn 25.
It's not a good year to come flying around, is it? I'm getting old. Never mind. As Parkin says, dry and optimum. That's all we have to remember.
And Sam Page says, stop, it's too quick.
What, the car or the year or
the ever-passing passage of time and life?
Oh, this is getting ever so slightly too deep. Right, now, talking of things that are too quick, you may have noticed that race 1, ladies and gents, is 8 minutes long only. So if you are new to watching the AM series, this is for a very good reason. The AM series is about all of these guys learning not only about how to get quicker, but also how to race against each other. So the 45-minute race that comes up a little bit later on is one mandatory stop. So you have this quick 8-minute race in which they get a chance of practicing the run into turn 1, fighting with other cars around on a busy lap 1, and doing their mandatory stop. So plenty to practice in this 8 minutes. But from our point of view, it's great fun to watch as we go green for 8 minutes of racing at Brands Hatch. And Alfie Bevan makes a good start. Sohn, I think, has dropped back, and that is Siniuk up into 3rd place in the black and gold McLaren. Already the bollards go flying. They're gone. They're done. And Alfie Bevan leads us. Sorry? It was, yet more bollards go flying. Nobody likes the bollards. Oh, one made it all the way up there. Yeah, no, but you're right. That has been a relatively clean opening lap. So well done, AMS. Yeah, if yeah, Siniuk, I think may have lost 3rd. Yes, Sohn back up into 3rd, where Sohn qualified. So the Ferrari up into 3rd. I'll tell you what, though, Dexter Morgan isn't letting Alfie Bevan run off into the distance. Oh, yes, he is. Yes, he is. That was a proper curse. Right, so Alfie Bevan now a long way out front from Sohn. And then Siniuk, and then it's going to be battle side by side down in towards clearways. That is Fensom and Muller. So Fensom in the red Ferrari and Muller in the yellow and black one. So Muller will be looking for a move up the inside into paddock now. It's a brave one to go up the inside there, and I fear contact. There is contact, but the double contact straightened Fensom back up, and Muller up the inside then into Druids. And I think has got the move done. A little bit push to pass. So we see another McLaren off in the background. That was Mason this time. Just as Amundsen says, McLaren things in chat. Yes. Well, I think the Ferrari is ever popular. What we've got 2nd, 4th, 5th, 7th, and 8th. So that 296 Ferrari looking pretty good in ACC since its launch, as we see Fenton running out wide. So that's going to give Daz Eaton a chance to catch up a little bit and get in the mix. But right now, Muller pulling away in fourth. So it's Bevan, Sohn, Siniak, Muller, Fenton. Then it's Eaton, Krauser, Donnelly, and Morgan, followed by Leuven. Some of them taking to the pits for their mandatory stop. So remember, this 8-minute race. Yes, it's racing. Yes, it's fun. But also these guys using it to learn what happens in the 45-minute races. We see Remco Torn now getting into the side of Hattenson, and that took Knight with them as well. So I think Remco Torn will have some questions to answer there. It was a bold move up the inside of paddock that Trinket ended in disaster. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's about learning what not to do as well as learning what to do. Those guys there look like they were enjoying themselves, but they weren't looking at the track, which was odd.
We are at the halfway mark, still a long way to go.
Good. Okay. Jordan Gale then is sat in 10th place right now. Car 15 chasing down Kazaya in the 265. A couple of Nissans in the field tonight, you might have noticed. So Kazaya up in 9th right now, and Scrut in 20th. Interesting to see a couple of Nissans in an AM series. Some of these guys now taking to the pits. So we've got Sohn and Eaton in. We've now got Gale and Kazaya in as well. And it looks... Yeah, so Morgan recovering from that early spin. We know that Morgan's got the pace. It's just about keeping it pointing in the right direction for the 69 giggity car. Right there of Dexter Morgan looking for a gap up the inside of Krauser. Not quite able to do it. They're up against the back marker there in one of the Lamborghinis. And riding on board now with Dexter Morgan. Lambo looking very, very slidey up front. Assuming that's Russell in the 10. Yes, it is. So Morgan will now be looking for a way past. Gets it done. Into what used to be called Dingledell, and I refuse to call it anything but Dingledell. I know the dip just before it is called Dingledell now, but for me, the corner will always be Dingledell. And there's another McLaren off. Now Sam recovering with damage, no doubt, from the incident with Hansen and Remco Torn just a lap or so ago. So Sam has elected to drag that McLaren back to the pits. Haribo Penguin saying, I think we've lost Trinket's mic now.
Damn it. I was muting myself to take a sip of my coffee and forgot to unmute myself.
Oh, very good, very good. So Sam Knight has made it back into the pits. You can also see up front that you've got Siniak, Krauser and Morgan also in the pits. Remco Torn's in a little bit further back as well. So Alfie Bevan leads at this moment in time. Hasn't yet taken their stop. As we see one of the Nissans getting out into the gravel. We pick up Robert Gettings in a very attractively coloured McLaren. That's nicely done livery, that one. And heads down into clearways now in what is 12th at the moment, but you've still got 4 cars out front yet to stop. Of course, remember, this is not for points. This is all about learning, this little 8-minute race, but from our point of view, it's always interesting to watch these guys.
He's not stopped.
No, Bevan hasn't stopped, so he's obviously decided he doesn't need the pit stop practice. That would be because he's not an AM. And we'll now go on. So we'll probably cross the line ahead of everyone else, but we'll then get a 30-second penalty for having not served their mandatory stop. And we'll drop tumbling down the order. So even though it's not for points, it's still surely nice to get a win under your belt.
There's quite the sneaky way of doing it.
Well, what I'm saying is that they'll lose it. So surely you'd take your mandatory stop just so you can get that win under your belt. But has decided not to. We'll get the penalty as a result, and we'll drop tumbling down the order instead. Dexter Morgan up the inside of Toby Leuven. It's a nice move in the 69. So up to 9th for Dexter Morgan. And I tell you what, this kind of pace for Dexter tells you you've got to watch him when it comes to the 45-minute race. Can he take it to Alfie Bevan? Wonder whether Alfie's going to try and pit on the final lap. Yes, does. But if his pit box is beyond the start-finish line, then he'll get penalised. It's not. So I think he's going to get away with this one. So if that was knowledge, then very good.
Yeah, I was... I'm not too knowledgeable on this, so I just do my pit stop like a good boy.
That's good noises, though, by the way. Hey, so Alfie's going to drop down off the jacks. The question is,
that would be Darren Eaton as I switch to Tom Muller, and that's what the camera sees.
Yeah, I think Alfie is going to drop down off the jacks. Yes, has done, and will now cross the line whilst in the pits. So that's there
it is.
An interesting way of doing it.
That was only 2 seconds, though.
Oh, so it ended up close.
It's very close.
Surprisingly close, actually. So I wonder whether Alfie set his pit stop wrong and ended up doing a little bit more than he needed to.
Very close fight there for the line.
Yeah, 1/10 of a second across the line. This is Sam Page trying to hold on to an excellent 12th place and does so. So well done, Sam. 12th is a great start to the season for you, even though it's only the 8-minute race. Seth Royal then is going to cross the line 16th. Nicely done. The rest of the order, we're going to see Farrow and Scrutt, and then Russell, and then Hansen in the 969 crosses the line. Then it's Leo Mason in the curb car. We saw this one having some trouble early doors. Across the line there in 21st. Conradi will be next up in 22nd. Remco Torn is in the pits, but it's just finished. And Sam Knight is still in the box with that damage. So I think we're probably going to have to wait for it to time out now, because I can imagine that Sam is still having damage repaired at this moment.
I can imagine that was quite a long stop, and it's when you're in your box, you can't even turn the garage or anything. Your controls are completely locked, so we've just got to wait for it.
Correct. Yep, I'm sure it will time out before too long, and we can then get moving on to the 45-minute race. There's Sam.
Or I can be completely wrong.
If in doubt. Right, he's actually back, returned to garage now, so hopefully it should click into gear soon, and we can go through to the points race. Love to see cars bouncing up and down in the pits. It's always good. It's ACC things, right? But there was an interesting race for a short one, right?
Oh, certainly lots happened.
What can we expect in the 45?
That, but longer. I
Right.
imagine...
This is excellent tonight.
Oh, amazing. Perfect commentary. I'm glad you brought me on board. Yeah, I expect a lot of different strategies playing out.
Yes, because there isn't a pit window, is there? So they can stop whenever they want, if I'm right in thinking. So Sam Knight just decided to Try again.
Come across the line.
There we go. Sam does cross the line now. All a bit odd.
Just waiting on the next session to start now.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll just wait for everything to move on to the next race.
It'll be interesting.
8 minutes of absolute carnage. So let's multiply that out to 45 minutes and see what happens next, eh?
Let's hope for less death, more fights, and, well, less spinning.
Less death, more fights, less spinning. That sounds like the recipe that we all need for a good race. Next up, so I don't know why it says pit window open for another 12 minutes 50 seconds. But yeah, we're currently sat here waiting for the server to move on. Sam is in chat. Well done, Sam, on your 12th. It's a nice finish. He says them Maccas are so quick in a straight line.
I imagine they're running quite low wing as well, because we were only using 1 or 2 wing in Spa, so I imagine they are rapid on straights on a lot of tracks. There's a lot of grip on that car.
Wow. Right. It's moved us on, and we've got a lovely view from the back of the grid now. We're flying down the side. There is Sam Knight's car. And we're now tracking along the rest of the grid in front. If you're new to ACC, those cars up in the air, it's not some kind of wheelie start. The cars are up in the air whilst guys are sorting out their setup, putting the right fuel in for the race and everything like that. And then you'll see them drop down on their wheels, just like that, when their setup is sorted and ready to go. So, do we think Alfie Bevan's going to blitz lap 1 and be out front again?
I think so. He's also got a 5-second penalty for something that must have happened previously, but I'm not sure that's going to do too much in a 45-minute race.
Yeah, that's very true. And now, again, for anyone who's not watched AMS with us before, we do have live stewarding going on as well. So I'm just going to see if there's any notes somewhere as to what's going on there with penalties. But there was a penalty, that's for sure. 5 seconds.
And Sam Page asks the most important question.
Top 10 possible for Sam Page? Yes.
Yes.
Nailed on.
I believe in you.
I reckon. Do it. Never give up.
100% confirmed.
Edition Dutch, good evening. Good evening indeed to you. Hope you're good. I tell you the thing that's really thrown me about moving on to YouTube.
All the new names.
Yeah, I've got to learn everyone's names from scratch again. It's like, I've just got used to who was who, and now we've got the new, and I don't know who is the who. Gail's in the pits, look. So Gail hasn't made the start. Leuven also with a 5-second penalty that was applied earlier on as well. But we are about to get going for 45 minutes of racing. Alfie Bevan on pole, Dexter Morgan second in that 69 McLaren. Then you got Sohn, Siniak, Fensom, Royal, Muller, Gettings, Krauser, and Mason are your top 10. I tell you what, Morgan looking ready and raring to go as we wait for the green light here at Brands Hatch. And there it is. And immediately, Morgan alongside, coming down into T1, but Bevan takes the inside line. Morgan will look to switch back and follow Bevan up the hill. But right now, it looks like a relatively clean start. Bevan leads away from Morgan. That is then Siniak up into third again, just the same as last race. Seth Royal running a little bit wide on the grass there, and there is a yellow flag a little bit further back in the pack. But Bevan leads by half a second from Morgan. Siniak third, Sohn fourth, Muller fifth, Fensom sixth, Gettings, then Royal, then Krauser, then Donnelly. as we see Sohn trying to get back past Siniuk. Exactly the same as the last race.
It's definitely showing that these drivers are consistent.
Yeah, they really are, and Siniuk getting the jump on Sohn at the start for second race in a row. But Sohn immediately putting the pressure back on with his teammate not too far behind him, Muller, who's got ahead of Fensom as well. And you see Siniuk just running a touch wide there, kicking up some dirt. Sohn moves to the outside, nothing doing there. Now tucks back into the line and will try and follow all the way over the start-finish line. And we'll look for a move down into paddock, but behind Fensom looks to the outside of Muller in the other 297 car. Can't get it done, but will then look to have a run up into Druids. Forced to the outside, and Muller, I think, held the line beautifully there, Trinket.
He really did. They got very close there. It looked like a tiny bit of contact, but if it was just a little bit of a kiss.
Indeed, kiss between Muller and Fensom. Get a room, chaps. Bevan out front, though, by 1.2 now, Trinket, so really stretching his legs early doors.
He'll be hoping to keep that and to prove to everyone he really is not an AM and does not belong here.
Well, we knew that already. He's definitely not an AM, but never mind. I'll stop banging on about that now. Getting then on the back of Krauser. So that very striking matte finished McLaren is trying to make a move on the Ferrari 296 in front. Looking for a move up the inside there, not quite enough room. And we'll now tuck back in for the run down to Clearways. Up ahead, Fensom was making a move on Muller, but again, just couldn't quite get it done. So those two still battling it out as well as we now go across the stripe once again then. So 2 laps in the books, plenty more to come. Gettings taking out the final bollard in T1. Thank you.
They've all spread out into tiny little individual fights.
They have, yeah. So you can see Eaton and Mason behind this one is another little pair going at it. But in terms of spread as well, Bevan and Morgan and Siniuk, they're all very neatly spread out front. A couple of seconds between each car. And then Sohn sort of half a second behind Siniuk. Still not got back past. But Gettings, meanwhile, still all over Krauser. And as these two fight, so Eaton and Mason are going to come along to join the party very soon, I think.
Going to be a D4 there.
Yeah, well, Krauser's actually catching Royal as well, as we see Gettings run out wide. But neatly spread at the moment, so not risking losing a position to Daz Eaton at that moment in time.
As a Haribo Penguin in chat says, got a Ferrari train going from 4th to 8th, and this is for lead Ferrari position.
Oh, indeed. Yeah, I think Donnelly should be pretty disappointed that he's been cut adrift of the rest of the Ferraris, look.
His fellow Italian friends have left him behind.
Indeed they have. He's stuck as the meet between a McLaren and a BMW instead. Although Donnelly's got a BMW right up his chuff now as well. But Sohn still looking for a way back past Siniuk. So in the last race, we saw Sohn get back past Siniuk pretty quickly. Not so this time, Trinket.
Yeah. Looks like there's going to be quite a lot of that. They are holding their ground. They're defending. They're fighting. It looks great. No major incidents so far I've seen.
Watching this, you would not believe that this is an AMS race. These guys looking very calm and professional, and looking like they're doing a great job, as we see Toby Leuven now on the back of Farrell, and they both run wide. So just as I say, That we lose 2 cars into the grass, one of them into the wall, and Leuven gets to carry on in that Area 51 car.
It's very unfortunate they both go wide, but one loses the back. Yeah, getting on grass is such a difficult thing sometimes.
Indeed, I wouldn't recommend getting yourself on grass, kids. Definitely not.
Don't touch grass.
So, no, don't touch grass. Just reminds me of Homer and The Simpsons. Don't touch Willy. Good advice. Oh dear. Lousy smart weather. Never mind. Kazaya then right up behind Russell. So these two had some funny times in the first race. We saw Kazaya going, as we see them loop themselves around Sam Page there. Sam, the top 10 might be a little bit more difficult now. But Kazaya pushing on to the back of Russell and off on the grass again, takes that polystyrene board out. Blam!
Made
off
a
it goes.
very satisfying thonk.
It did. Not the blam that I just suggested, right?
Yeah, not quite that, I don't think.
No.
Got some damage on these two fighting over here.
We have. I think the BMW ahead is... Oh, no, it's not. That's Farrell that we saw spin into the wall earlier. Farrell back in the pits, by the way.
It's one of the mandatory stops at least, because the pit window is the whole race, so he should be able to get out and just run his laps.
Exactly. Switch into enduro mode and just knuckle down and just lap. It's not a bad tactic, actually. Good chat going on in the YouTube chat as well. Alex saying so much confusion with usernames. Dutch saying, can imagine that, Alex. Never signed in with my own name here. Alex has not really had the imagination, so just went with Alex Parkin. There you go. Conradi then under some pressure from Gale. Gale looking like he's got a McLaren with no damage, but it certainly looks twitchy out there.
Yes. Can definitely be on how they've set up their car, especially as he's regular amateur. I would expect by now to have some knowledge on how to change the setup, changing your roll bars, dampers, brushes. Ooh, there's Russell gone round as well.
Yeah, so Russell had a tough time in the first race, and it looks like that tough time has repeated itself. We've seen Seth Royal has also got some damage. Are we able to pick up on a replay of that one, Trinket?
I shall.
So Royal then around the back end of the circuit. Is this going to be all by himself, or is it going to be with a helping hand? It wasn't. It looked like it was going to be a helping hand, but I think it was all by himself.
It's very close. That's something the stewards can look at in more detail.
Well, the interesting thing is, if there was no contact, it will not show up on the stewards list. Because the automatic stewarding thingy picks up on the thingies with the contact stuff.
Yes.
So if there wasn't any, then it won't ping up. Addition Dutch is Brownings.
The long one, yeah. I've seen that name a few times before.
The first time I tried to pronounce it, I was like, Bridging, but it's Brownings. So yes, Brownings. Thank you for that. But Sohn still right on the back of Siniak, but look at how close they both are to Dexter Morgan now. So Morgan has maybe had a couple of mistakes or something. And the really interesting thing here is that Alfie Bevan is now our net leader. So yes, in the lead. But with that 5-second penalty pending, 6.5 seconds in front means that he is now the net leader, as we see. Diniuk up the inside of Morgan. Morgan holds it round the outside, though. Nicely done by Dexter Morgan. Just opened up the gap, opened up the corner, got back on the power a bit earlier and held it round the outside. Nicely done that.
I always love a bit of onboard cams.
Indeed, we're watching Angel Sohn, who's looking for a way past the pair of these McLarens. So Morgan and Siniuk, second and third at this moment in time. Morgan, we know, has dropped back quite a bit from Bevan over the last couple of laps. As we see Siniuk now running out wide. Sohn will move to the inside and gets the move done quite nicely. I think Siniuk just held it in the background. I thought for a moment was going to end up in the wall, but this one has changed around. We see Farrell picking up a 10-second penalty towards the back as well. But these guys now just spread out a little bit as well, as we pick up on Daz Eaton chasing down Leo Mason, but Daz is off track and does spin and is collected.
That's very unfortunate.
That's collected by Seth Royal, I think.
Watch the rejoin.
Yeah.
Channel in some Johnny while he's on holiday.
Yeah, and also the thought of hold your brakes whilst having a spin as well. Never mind. It's all about learning. It's all about learning in the SimHound Amateur Series here at oNiD. Thanks for watching us live here on YouTube. Matt Krauser now looking to make a move on Tony Fensom. So I thought there was going to be a bit of contact there. I think they just about managed to avoid it. Sweeping away some of the broken polystyrene as they now head down the hill under what I call the Johnny Herbert Bridge. If you've never seen that crash, then just don't. It's terrifying. How the man survived and he's still here today, I have no idea. But Krauser now drops off the back of Fensom a little bit. Have you seen the Johnny Herbert crash before?
Yes, if it's the one I'm thinking of.
It's like F3000 or something, I think.
A few years back, the flying wheel.
No, you're thinking of Henry Surtees.
Yeah, I was thinking of Henry Surtees.
Yeah,
Bit of
Johnny Herbert.
memory.
Yeah, Johnny Herbert back in the 80s crashed into the base of that bridge, how he survived, I'll never know. But he did, and went on to win 3 Grand Prix as well.
Some of the crashes from back in the 80s are horrific, and people just walked away from it. Because nowadays you see horrific crashes in these cars, and 9 times out of 10 they'll walk away just fine. But back in the 80s, it's a miracle they walked away.
Well, he didn't walk away. He broke a lot of bones.
Yeah, in a general sense.
Yes,
not literally
survived.
5 Gs
yes.
rolling and then just step up and I'm fine.
Right, Siniuk then trying to get back on terms with Sohn after running wide a couple of laps ago and losing the position to the Ferrari, although that looks like it's going in the wall, and it did.
That's quite a hefty one. See, as he got bent steering, that still looks pretty straight. You could probably carry on with that.
Might be a good time to box though, because those tyres are going to be red hot if nothing else. But no, Siniuk carries on. So it looked like a much bigger hit than it's actually ended up being, I think.
Must have got pretty lucky with that, because I've had hits weaker than that, and steering's been 90 degrees to the left.
Yeah. I've had hits weaker than that and had the meatball flag flown, and you got no choice but to box at that point. So Siniuk carrying on. Be interesting to see where Siniuk's pace goes as a result. But things just settling down a little bit. Dexter Morgan has actually picked up a bit of pace and has closed in on Bevan by 0.3 on that last lap. So whether Bevan was in some traffic or what, it is a relatively short lap here, so traffic can be more of an issue at Brands, can't it?
Yeah, there's not a lot of room. It's a very narrow track, just like the rest of the British GT tracks. There's really not a lot of room to move around. You've got your one line and that's it. Yeah,
and there's not a lot of straights here at Brands either to step out of the way and let people go. As we see Sam Knight picking up an SG30, so I can only assume that was for speeding in the pits. that's not working out so well for Sam in car number 1, down in 18th.
Especially after a stop.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, Mason then down into clearways.
Oh, we've got a change of position here. Side by side. Oh,
But there's
no.
contact. Oh, and the tank slapper. Fensom's going to do well to keep that out of the barrier, and does. So a bit of side-by-side action down into paddock is always a recipe for disaster, and Fensom comes off worse there.
Yeah, it seems every time I swap over and think I see something, something like that happens. But
Yeah,
he looks like he got away with that okay. He lost a lot of time, but he didn't hit anything big. So he should be able to keep going for a while.
No, but I think dirty tyres, a bit of an issue at the minute, because Fensom looks like he's really struggling with grip at this moment in time, and that puts Donnelly right onto the back of him. Donnelly will now move to the outside. Fensom sitting right down the middle of the track. Nice defensive line, and holds that position at this moment in time. But Donnelly, I think, just has the pace at the moment until Fensom gets those tyres cleaned up.
Which shouldn't be too long. There's a Ilpo in chat talking about commentator's curse. It's quite a lot of that today. I've sort of swapped over to someone and they've crashed. So it's not a good feeling.
We have done many a snipe tonight already. 27 minutes left in this one then. Again, if you're... Oh, as we see Donnelly now take to the pits. Sensible move there. Yeah, again, if you're new to watching these streams, then there is a mandatory pit stop that everyone has to take in this race. And where you can see an orange box next to their name with a number 1 in it, that means they've still got to take their mandatory stop. If they've got a green box, it means that they've taken all of their mandatory stops and they don't need to pit again. We're watching Tom Muller, who is up in 4th, less than a second behind his teammate now. So catching up that fellow 297 Sim Sports Ferrari of Angel Sohn in 3rd.
As the pace drops back slightly. There's quite a few big gaps around the track now. There's not a lot of close fighting at this time.
No, we're sort of in that phase where some people have pitted, some people haven't, and the field gets quite spread out. But then it all sort of concertinas back up towards the end of the race as you see a couple more cars in the pits. That's Gale and Scrutt. We pick up on Sam Page, and he had that moment earlier on, and we kind of said, oh, maybe that might be a bit difficult for the top 10 now, but he's up in 12th.
Hasn't made his stop yet, but he has been going well. There's been quite a few other incidents on track, so he might pick up a few more places back. Still 26 minutes to go.
Yeah, there is, and anything can happen in just a second. And we've got many seconds left of this race. So Sam doing a good job, just keeping it on track, pointing forwards, and keeping it pinned. So good job, Sam.
Sam do what Sam do best. He just keeps on going.
Indeed. Alfie Bevan has extended his lead to 7.2 out front now, so not really having to worry about that 5-second penalty anymore. Morgan has then got 4 seconds on Sohn, who has pulled away a little bit from Muller, 1.5 there. Tiniak another 1.8 further back, and Krauser another 10 seconds behind that. And then you get to Leuven, Mason, Kazea, and Page is up into the top 10 right now. But as you say, hasn't taken that stop yet. Here's somebody that has, Jordan Gale, recently back out onto track. And he's behind Scrutt, who was in the pits at the same time as him, if I remember right.
I do believe so, yes, but he is gaining on Scrutt quite rapidly. But that Nissan is quite large, so it will be a bit of a struggle to get squeezed through.
It will. Maybe that McLaren just firing its tyres up a little bit quicker after the stop than the Nissan. Picking up on one of the lovely Logitech G Challenge liveries from last year's McLaren Logitech G Challenge. Liveries designed by our very own Ben Brown.
That I did
Beautiful.
not know.
Did you not? Yes. Yes, Ben did all of the Logitech G Challenge liveries last year. So very nicely done. Great job from Ben. And now down into T1 goes one of those cars. Jordan Gale sends it up the inside into Druids. That looked very easy. I don't know whether Scrut just let him go or what.
I think so. There was quite a bit of a pace disparity, and just to make things easier, you might have just gone on the inside and just let him through.
Well, if that's the case, then fair play. That's sensible driving. Always good to learn when you've got somebody faster around you rather than losing time in a battle, especially this early on in the season as Trinket switches to a car, dropping it again.
I saw a yellow flag. I clicked on it just in time.
You did indeed, which would suggest that they must have gone off on the outside first to bring the yellow and then spun back to the inside. It's a tricky corner, that one over the top there at what used to be Dingled Out. So Conrady, who has already stopped as well. So he's probably going to carry on now despite the damage. They've already taken their stop. Or just want to plod on. Right, Sohn, Leuven, Page, and Faru in the pits. Probably not the way to say that name, but I got a little tripped over as I was saying it, so it came out as Faru.
I was trying to find where the name was, and I see it now.
Yeah, it's actually just Faru.
Faru.
So not Faru. Never mind.
As Dexter Morgan's gone off, I'm just going to get a quick replay of that, and I was okay. Okay, so we missed the spin, but we didn't miss that. That's something you definitely do not want to be doing. I hope the stewards will be looking at that.
Yeah, I think they will, and that was Daz Eaton, I think, that got caught up in it. Which the irony is, Daz had his own incident like that earlier on, and there was a question mark over well, maybe he could have just held the brakes a little bit more on his own. So, sort of seeing it from both sides now. Darren in 19th place. That's a pretty heavily damaged Pork again, isn't it?
I find, at least from what I've heard, the Pork handles front damage quite well, because of course the engine's in the back.
Yes, big crash might just make it look a little bit better, but
just crash it back straight.
Yusu Yualis Silva, I've completely butchered your name. It says a big hug from Brazil, and a big hug back to Brazil. Love some of your racing over there as well. I'm a big AMS2 fan, and doing some of the stock cars in AMS2 and all that kind of stuff is great. Recon's in chat as well. Says hello, Adam. Hello, Trinket. Hello, indeed.
Hello, Recon.
And Collective World 24 would love to have a look at car number 1 if we can, which is Sam Knight. So Sam, not without his problems in this race so far, has switched from the Porsche, I want to say, in last month.
It was the carbon and yellow one with your mum on the back.
My mum was not on the back of his car.
Yeah, I was going to say something mean, but I'll withhold.
But Sam now running a rather fetching-looking livery on that McLaren. That is a nice one, isn't it?
It is quite nice. Definitely.
I'm not normally a big fan of a white livery, but that one does look quite pretty.
It's definitely got the look to it, the design.
Yeah, perfect for British Grand Prix week as well. That kind of blue, red, and white design does look really, really nice.
And Collective World also says that they've moved from a controller to a wheel as well.
Wow, that is a big step. That is a big step change, moving from one to the other there. So Sam will take a little bit of time to get up to speed, no doubt, but good to see Sam out on track there. Now, Alfie Bevan's in the pits, and of course, we'll be taking that 5-second penalty as well. So this will be a long stop for Bevan as we pick up on Faru, as I called him earlier. Oh yes, Collective World is Bo. Of course, I always forget.
Oh,
Collective
it's
World.
Bo!
Bo!
I think I saw him mention that earlier and it just completely left my mind.
Yeah.
This is going to take a while.
Yup. Now, Mr. Faru is in 14th at the moment. 1.1 behind Gale, so...
when I clicked it was 0.7 because I thought there might have been a fight going on. But unfortunately, Gale's going faster. Oh, someone goes wide there.
Now, interestingly, Krauser and Kazaya are in the pits, which means that everyone has taken their pit stop right now. So we'll just wait for Kazaya's turn green as they come out of the pits, as we pick up a Lawrence Donnelly now, right up behind Gettings. So it's McLaren versus Ferrari. But Donnelly runs a bit wide through paddock, so we'll have to chase down again. So Bevan has taken that stop and now has a lead of 3.7. Interestingly, it's from Muller now. So obviously we saw the problem for Morgan earlier on, and I think Morgan... Is Morgan in 24th or have they retired?
Morgan? Where have they gone?
I think they might have retired then.
24th is Hanson, the Mercedes.
That shows 23rd on my list.
Oh, yep.
Either
No,
way.
he's gone to 23rd now. So yeah, so we have a someone who's left. So that would be Morgan.
Yeah, we've lost Morgan, who was second. Gale back into the pits now in 13th. But yes, so Sohn was ahead of Muller until the pit stops, but Muller now gets ahead of Sohn after the stops. So there's a swap around for second and third between the two 297 Sim Sports teammates. So we've got Bevan from Muller, from Sohn, Siniuk, Krauser, Gettings, Donnelly, Fensom, Leuven, and Mason is your top 10. Dexter Morgan has retired. He's in the stream chat.
Big damage.
Yeah, it's a shame. We would always encourage Dexter you to fix the damage and get back out on track. Every lap is a learning lap. As I found out at Spa the other day with my 5.5 minutes worth of damage on lap 1. It was not my fault. Tricky race that one, never mind.
Oh, we got Sam Knight, yellow flag again. I believe this is after turn 2.
Yeah, and just struggling with that not spinning the tyres up on the grass. Very, very difficult to do. Here comes Bevan. The leader is up behind Sam Knight now. Sam's got a long way to get back to the pits, so we'll no doubt let Alfie go very, very soon here. That's
Quite
indeed
a big closing speed there.
Yeah, there was a little bit scary, but we know that Sam's got some damage. Trying to bring that one back round.
It does look quite sketchy. What else do we have on track? It's a lot of big gaps at the moment. We do have Gettings in the pits from an earlier incident I believe I saw.
Yes, that's interesting because we just We had who else did we? Oh, we had Gale back in the pits a minute ago as well. So a couple of guys having to take a second stop, probably with damage, or they made an error in their first pit stop and didn't put enough fuel in, or something like that. But Alfie Bevan is out front and looking supreme, Trinket.
Yeah, zero issues, zero problems. Just go fast. Don't think about it, and just keep going fast. Which is definitely something I can't do.
No, I just can't do the driving fast bit at all. I've been trying for many years, but still it has not come. 13 and a half minutes left on the clock then. Very static conditions here at Brands Hatch. Optimum track, 22 degrees air, 27 degrees track temperature. Still overcast, very, very static, no change in the conditions whatsoever. You see Alfie Bevan having to check up behind, I think that's Gale in the McLaren. And I feared there might have been a problem, but gets away with it quite nicely.
Yep, just keep on trucking. We'll move down to Sam Page, who is in 11th after all of that.
11 and a half seconds outside of the top 10. So what can Sam do about Kazaya in front? Or is he going to have to hope that somebody else has a problem ahead of him to squeeze into the top 10? We'll keep an eye on that gap.
I believe that really is the only option at this point. It's just keep it going and try and not make him your mistake of your own. Oh, we've got one. That's a big one.
Toby Leuven, and where is he going to drop it all by himself? Not there. So it's going to be in one of the fast right-handers, I think. No, gets a helping hand.
Been assisted around.
Yeah.
Quite a hefty impact on the rear as well. That's really not going to help around this track. And there's
No,
Sam Page.
oh, there is Sam Page right behind Leuven now. So this is a battle for 10th right now at Leuven. I wonder may have to dive for the pits with that damage.
As Sam Page had to check up a lot there.
Yeah, but well done, Sam, because he noticed that last minute and did check up and avoided any contact. So Sam moves into the top 10. Good job.
We talked about it and willed it into existence. Maybe I should talk less. Or talk more.
Yes, definitely.
Taking offers.
Yes. He's got 7.1. He is ahead of Gettings right now. So with 11 minutes to go, let's hope he can hold on to that.
Scrut and Russell have been about a second apart for quite a few laps now. The gap has shrunk quite a bit more. And increased a bit more again.
Yeah, it has. So that's going to be about, I'm going to guess 1.2, something like that. 0.9, okay.
When you said it on the race control, it said 1.2. Oh, where's Russell goes wide? Oh, no.
Yeah, so Russell goes wide. Scrut up into 12th then. He's no longer a 9/10 gap. Because Scrut is now in front. It could be a 9/10 gap now, but in the opposite way. In fact, let's play Guess the Gap again. I'm going to say...
Apparently showing us 1 second.
I'm going to say 7/10.
Oh, a second. Very close, though. They pretty much just swapped around.
Yeah, I'm not so good at this. Guess the Gap. Guess the Gap. I should have a little jingle for Guess the Gap. Oh, Sam, still a lot of getting used to the wheel. Has found a gap to turn around. What's going to happen?
He's already got quite a damaged car, so I think he's going to lose it going around one of these fast ones. Just bounce a bit too much, the rear just lose it on him, or just a touch of the grass. That's all it takes.
Oh, it's on the exit of Dingledale. That
is
absolutely so
unbeatable.
Ouch.
Oh well. Carry on.
To the pits. A few
And-
more bits of McLaren, please.
They have swapped again.
They have swapped again. They really have. Oh, I tell you what, Gettings is now only 3.9 behind Sam Page. Make that 3.4. So that is definitely one to watch. So Sam is top 10 at the moment, but can he hold on to it? Scrut, though, can he recover and retake the position from Russell? Because these two are up and down like a yo-yo.
When was the last time you saw a yo-yo?
1999, probably. I remember at one point they were like all the rage at school.
They were quite common in my early years at school, and then they disappeared. That's because I grew up in the beginning of the smartphone age, so all the physical things stopped, and then everyone just had an iPhone.
When I was at school, it was like Nokia 3210s.
Yeah, I didn't have a smartphone until I was about 16.
Probably the best way. Probably the best way.
Usually is.
Billy's not having one yet.
Got Tony Fensom catching up to Donnelly over here too. This is for 6th place. Ferrari and Ferrari action once more. Someone on the inside there. That is, I believe, Faru. That was Faru, yep.
Excuse me, who?
Faru. Oh, I'm
Excuse me,
Faru.
Faru. Yes, that's the one.
It's becoming a wolf howl now.
Right. Gap from Page to Gettings is 1 second. Can we switch to that one? Because I think
Yes, we can.
Gettings will be Gettings very close to him, and he's going to be Gettings that position away from Sam Page. Moves to the inside onto the grass. Oh. Yeah, that was going into a gap that was ever closing. Yeah, that was an interesting line from Gettings. But gap now 6/10.
Didn't lose out too much. Already back onto the back of Sam. But gotta play smart when it comes to making moves like that.
Yeah.
It's also the topic of books in YouTube chat at the current time.
Yeah, it's all got a little bit deep in there, isn't it? Paper books are still nicer to
I have
read.
still never read a ebook. Sam Page goes wide.
I think Gettings has got it.
Gettings has got
Gettings him. You've still never read
an ebook.
Now I have a Kindle, and I do like it. I agree that paper books are better in theory, and as a possession, they're much nicer to have. And we have bookcases full of books in our house. But as we see Sam Page off in the background, holds onto it. But the Kindle is much more friendly for actually reading.
It's like the topic of digital versus physical, just in general.
Digital.
No, the mouth also is getting very painful. But yeah, it's the same kind of topic with digital versus physical, like with games consoles, music. It's nice to have the physical. You can say, I own this, this is mine, I have it. But then, you know, you fly halfway across the world, you're not going to take the whole physical thing with you.
No.
Or even just on the bus. It's nice to have the digital. It's convenient, it's nice.
Or even just in bed, it's a lot easier to hold and read than a book. But anyway, we may have gone slightly off topic. And,
there's not a lot on track, but Donnelly still chasing after Fenson. That's the closest fight on track at the time.
Donnelly then pushing on, but did lose that little bit of time towards the second half of that last lap. As we look down through the order there are quite a few gaps opening up here, there and everywhere. Sam Page has dropped to 11th as a result of that pass by Gettings, but still a good result if he can hold on to it. That would make a 12th and an 11th from tonight.
And a fourth class finish as well.
Yes, that would be a very handy result for Sam. So Sam pushing on and seeing if he can hold that. Meanwhile, Fenton and Donnelly are now 6/10 apart.
Oh, we've
in
got
the
Russell
garage.
into the wall over here.
So Russell with another problem in that Lambo. And we don't really know how it started, but we know how it finished. And it didn't finish well.
He didn't hit the wall too hard, though. He kept it out there. And we switch back to live broadcasting as he loses it once more.
That is hot tyres. Hot tyres in ACC are not fun. Oh, and it's that was one of the 297 cars that was in second or third.
We switched to driving HUD. That's interesting.
So, can we check on Sohn? Is Sohn still there?
Sohn's indicating right. I think they were the one who hit. Yep.
Yeah, Sohn has got the damage. Oh, and it looks like pretty hefty damage as well.
And oh, my brain. As Russell returns to garage there.
So it's unfortunate that Sohn will now try and hold on to that third place. He's still got over 11 seconds on Siniuk. So we'll be hoping to hold on to that without having to take to the pits to fix that damage. We'll see what the gap is in a minute between Sohn and Siniuk. And that'll be one to watch in the closing stages of this race. It's down to 9.3, so Sohn will be hoping to hold on to that.
Should only be 2 laps to go.
Yeah, so your order with just over 2 minutes to go is Bevan, Muller, Sohn, Siniuk, Krauser, Fenton, Donnelly, Mason, Kazea, Gettings, Page, Scrutt, Torn, Leuven, Farrell, Royal, Gale, Faru, Russell, Eaton, Knight, Hansen, and Conrad. You've got this unique talent of jumping to them whilst they're still having their accident.
Oh, it's
a beautiful drift, though. Well done.
Well held going. I can't remember the corner names. I have the words in my head, but they just slip in my mind. But well held through turn 1.
Turn 1's Paddock, then you go up to Druids. Then your left-hander at the bottom of the hill is Graham Hill Bend. Yeah, it used to be called Bottom Bend. Then you go into... Let's say... No, it's not Sterling's. Yeah, that's where I get lost. Anyway, Seth Royal now coming across the line. Right on the back of Farrell. I'm also looking at that Sohn Siniuk gap down to 8.4. So I think Sohn has got enough pace left in that car to hold on to third.
It's up to 10 seconds now. It's ever increasing. Currently the shortest gap on track right now, Royal and Farrell.
Yeah.
Down to 0.4 seconds now.
Alfie Bevan, despite that 5-second penalty in the pit stop. Oh, the Sohn has picked up a 5-second penalty. So Siniuk has got something to chase now.
Very narrow margin now.
To chase. So that is effectively a 3.6 second gap. And now, with a 5-second penalty, he doesn't actually need to pass him on track. He just needs to close. So Bevan crosses the line to start the final lap then. Something like 16, 17 seconds clear of the field. So can Siniuk put in a couple of belting laps, close the gap on Sohn? We'll be seeing as he... as we see Russell is off again. So Russell having a very difficult time.
But it's good to see, because he did return to garage, but it's good to see that he did come back out to finish the race.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, my screen has just gone blocky for a moment. so I can't tell you the gap. It's down to 6.4 between Sohn and Siniuk. So that is effectively just 1.4 seconds now between Sohn and Siniuk. So if he closes that a little bit more, he's going to steal an overall podium here.
Yep, he needs to nail this mega lap, and he's got it. Got another yellow flag further down.
Yeah.
There's M. Farrell.
So Farrell has lost out on that battle.
Donnelly and
They were in
Fensom have
oil.
just traded places.
Oh, and they're still side by side. Look. Yeah, so Fensom holds the outside line.
The leader has finished the race.
Oh, as
And
Alfie
Bevan
does
takes the win. And Siniuk now to within 5.9. So this will be the crucial thing now as we see Muller coming out of the final corner to cross the line and take a well-deserved, nice, clean and tidy second. 19 seconds off the back. Right, so Sohn will be the next car across the line and will take third on the road. And where's Siniuk?
5.4321049. What was it? Oh,
5.8. So he's out on third by 0.8 of a second in the end. So did just enough. I'm very sorry, the Codex 09, that you haven't got the voice of God on comms.
yeah. No Stevie Bain, the land of Scotland.
Oh, hi. No.
Oh, I didn't my own brew. I come Aberdeen.
You can get away with it because you are partly Scottish, right?
I am half Scottish, yes. My
Yes.
father's side.
I am not, so I've just defended the nation. As we see Scrupp coming through clearways. Eaton and Knight are finished, so Scrupp will be the last one to finish. And there we go.
And that's that.
So, pretty dominant win from Alfie Bevan.
Really showing us why he was a Team 87 finalist in Assetto Corsa.
Well, exactly. Now, interestingly, so Sohn's 5-second penalty was for ignoring yellow flags. Just seen it in the comments there. Well, it's in the comments, ironically, from no comment. But there you go.
I realise how
well,
ironic that name is now.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Look, this was an excellent race this evening, an excellent couple of races. So, good start to the SimHound Amateurs month of July. I'm not here next week. I'm off to Goodwood Festival Speed next Thursday. So I'm assuming it's going to be Johnny and Trinket Thursday next week. Is that about right?
I'm being told and I'm being dragged along. I actually don't know.
Good. Okay, it's Johnny and Trinket next week then. Yeah, there's an outside chance to be back in time, but I don't think so. It's 4.5 hour drive to back from Goodwood for me on Thursday. So the chance of me being back in time is pretty remote, I should imagine. But never mind. Right. That's us pretty much done for tonight. So Trinket, thanks for controlling the cameras and all that shebang tonight.
I tried my best.
Yeah, you did a cracking job. It was an excellent race to watch, and the stream will be back next Thursday night for a bit more. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all very soon.
And goodbye.